I think my films are in the same range as Bruce's. Bruce's films were primarily, of all the martial arts stars who have dominated our screens over the years, it's easy to agree that Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee were really the biggest. Their reputations as two of the greatest stars in the history of martial arts remain undisputed. But recently, something surprising happened. Chuck Norris has spoken up on some really interestingly shocking things about Bruce Lee. I've been very blessed with my film career. It all began with Bruce Lee. So, what did Chuck Norris have to say about Bruce after all these years? Join us as we get into the world of martial arts. Chuck Norris, a martial arts legend. Carlos Rey, better known as Chuck Norris, is one of the most iconic martial artists and film stars of his generation. Born on March 10, 1940, Norris had a difficult childhood. He was non-athletic, shy, and academically average. His father, Ray, worked sporadically as an automobile mechanic and often went on months-long drinking binges. Embarrassed by his father's behavior and the family's financial struggles, Norris became deeply introverted, a trait that lasted throughout his childhood. In 1958, Norris joined the United States Air Force as an air policeman and was stationed at Osan Air Base in South Korea. It was there that he earned the nickname Chuck and began training in Tang Soo-do, a martial art that eventually led him to achieve black belts and later found his own martial arts system, Chun Kuk Do, Universal Way. Upon returning to the United States, he continued his service as an AP at March Air Force Base in California. Norris was discharged from the Air Force in August 1962 with the rank of Airman First Class. After leaving the military, he applied to become a police officer in Torrance, California. While waiting for his application to be processed, he decided to open a martial arts studio, a decision that would ultimately shape the rest of his career. Norris began competing in martial arts tournaments, but faced challenges early on. He lost his first two competitions, dropping decisions to Joe Louis and Alan Steen, and later suffered 3 defeats to Tony Tulliners at the International Karate Championships. However, by 1967, Norris had significantly improved, securing victories over skilled fighters like Vic Moore. On June 3rd of that year, he won the 1967 Tournament of Karate after defeating 7 opponents, culminating in a final match against Skipper Mullins. Later that month, on June 24th, he was crowned champion at S. Henry Cho's All-American Karate Championship at Madison Square Garden, where he claimed the title from Julio LaSalle and bested Joe Louis in the finals. During this period, Norris balanced his competitive career with work at Northrop Corporation and the expansion of his chain of karate schools. His official website lists several notable celebrity clients, including Steve McQueen, Chad McQueen, Bob Barker, Priscilla Presley, Donny Osmond, and Marie Osmond. By early 1968, Norris suffered the 10th and final loss of his career in an upset decision to Luis Delgado. However, on November 24, 1968, he avenged that loss and, in doing so, secured the professional middleweight karate champion title, a title he would hold for 6 consecutive years. I taught for 15 years. Yeah, I was the world champion from 68 to 74. Wow. On April 1st, he successfully defended his All-American Karate Championship in a round-robin tournament at the Karate Tournament of Champions of North America. Later that year, he won the All-American Karate Championship for a second time, marking his final tournament before retiring undefeated. How did Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris meet? While competing, Norris met Bruce Lee, the man who would just happen to change his life. At the time, Lee was busy gaining fame through the TV series The Green Hornet. Norris and Lee eventually developed a strong friendship, as well as a training and professional relationship. After their meeting, Lee left for Hong Kong to move ahead with his movie career. However, the legend didn't forget his American friend. He called him back in 1972 with the offer to do a movie with him. He offered to have Norris play his opponent in the iconic movie The Way of the Dragon. But who exactly was Bruce Lee, the man who revolutionized martial arts and left an everlasting impact on the world? Who is Bruce Lee? Bruce Lee undeniably paved the way for modern MMA and encountered numerous martial artists throughout his acting career. He worked on several iconic films before his untimely passing, yet his legacy remains valid to this day. Born Lee Junfan, born on November 27, 1940 in San Francisco, California, Lee is remembered as one of the most influential martial artists and cultural icons of all time. Despite his untimely death at the age of 32 on July 20, 1973, his achievements and philosophy left an enduring legacy that continues to inspire millions worldwide. Bruce Lee's journey began in Hong Kong, where his family relocated in 1941. As a child actor, he appeared in nearly 20 Chinese films, showing his natural charisma. Alongside acting, he studied dance and trained in the Wing Chun style of Kung Fu, laying the foundation for his martial arts skills. In 1959, Lee moved to America, attending the University of Washington, where he began teaching martial arts. His innovative approach combined traditional techniques with his own philosophy, eventually forming what he called Jeet Kune Do, or the way of the intercepting fist. Lee's first major foray into American media was as Kato, the acrobatic sidekick on the Green Hornet. While his role gained recognition, Hollywood offered limited opportunities for Asian actors, prompting Lee to return to Hong Kong in the early 1970s. There he quickly became a sensation with action-packed films such as The Big Boss and The Way of the Dragon, which he wrote, directed, and starred in. The Way of the Dragon featured a now legendary fight scene between Lee and martial artist Chuck Norris. Till this day, the fight remains one of the most legendary battles ever captured on film. The Way of the Dragon fight. Of all the legendary clashes between classic kung fu and martial arts movie icons, few are as famous as the showdown between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. Their fight in The Way of the Dragon became a cult favorite among martial arts movie fans, largely due to the immense legacies of both men. Their unforgettable duel took place in The Way of the Dragon, produced by Golden Harvest. It was Lee's third martial arts film and marked Chuck Norris's first credited big-screen appearance. Despite having minimal dialogue and only appearing in the final moments of the movie, Norris received second billing, highlighting the significance of his role. In the film, Chuck Norris's character, Colt, is a fighter hired to challenge Bruce Lee's character in a high-stakes, one-on-one showdown at the Colosseum in Rome. Their nearly 10-minute fight, featuring real physical contact in several moments, is widely regarded as one of the most intense and well-executed fight scenes in martial arts cinema history. Since Norris played the antagonist, the battle ultimately ended with Bruce Lee's character emerging victorious. Chuck Norris was frequently asked in interviews about his relationship with Bruce Lee. The two first met in 1968 at a karate tournament and quickly became friends. For about 2 years, Lee and Norris trained together in Norris's backyard, working on techniques and fitness. According to Norris, while they never had an actual fight, some sparring did take place during their training sessions. Despite this, the Walker Texas Ranger star has been careful not to elaborate too much on what occurred during these sessions, insisting that their exchanges were never intense enough to be considered a real fight. Norris also stated that a fight between them was never something either martial artist wanted while filming Way of the Dragon. But over the years, rumors have circulated that Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris once had a secret full-contact match in a hallway somewhere. However, based on Norris's own statements, this likely never happened. Still, the speculation refuses to die down, fueled by their on-screen battle in Way of the Dragon and the impressive skills of both fighters. Who would win if Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee got into a fistfight? Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris are the most renowned martial artists in history. Both Lee and Norris profoundly impacted the martial arts community, and inspired many to pursue their passion for martial arts. Given their influence, the comparison between the two icons is perhaps inevitable, especially since they trained together at one point. This has led many to wonder, what would have happened if Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris had fought in their prime? Who would have come out on top, and why? Both men were born in 1940 and were on similar career trajectories until Lee's tragic death in 1973. Bruce Lee's legacy began with popularizing action-packed martial arts. As an individual who dared to master multiple martial arts styles, he inspired many to go beyond the confines of tradition and experiment with new methods. This pursuit led to the creation of Jeet Kune Do, a unique and powerful martial arts philosophy. Lee didn't just train his body for strength, he trained his mind and reflexes, making himself one of the fastest and most adaptable fighters of his time. Lee's first public fight took place during his teenage years in Hong Kong when he entered a Western-style boxing tournament. To prepare, he took lessons in Western boxing to refine his skills. His school held tournaments every year, and in his first year, he shocked everyone by defeating the previous champion, Gary Elms, in the finals. But before learning boxing, Bruce had already trained in Wing Chun Kung Fu under Wong Chun Leong and Ip Man. Wong helped Bruce adapt his Wing Chun techniques to fit boxing rules. But ultimately, it was Lee's incredible punching speed and unique strikes that threw Gary off his game. According to spectators, Elms took a beating like Rocky, refusing to stay down. The fight stretched across multiple rounds, but since Elms had been knocked down so many times, Lee had built up enough points to win by decision. Bruce Lee's victory over Gary Elms was the first and last time he participated in a competitive event. But why he never competed again remains a mystery to this very day. However, outside the ring, Lee was no stranger to real combat. Growing up in Hong Kong, he frequently got into street fights, which pushed him to begin martial arts training at 15. His Wing Chun masters worked to refine his skills for self-improvement, but Lee naturally gravitated toward real life, no-rules combat. He was more comfortable in unpredictable high-stakes fights than structured competitions for wins and glory, an outlook that eventually shaped the philosophy of Jeet Kune Do. Now there's Chuck Norris. After high school, Norris took a different path. He joined the Air Force and was stationed in Korea, where he began studying Tang Soo Do. When he returned to the United States, he worked for Northrop Aviation while teaching karate classes on the side. Within 2 years, he shifted to teaching full-time and eventually ran several martial arts schools. Both men were exceptional fighters, each with somewhat different approaches to martial arts. But when it comes to a battle between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris at their peak, who would have had the upper hand? Many argue that Norris would emerge victorious since his fighting career spanned about 10 years. Though he lost his first 3 tournaments, he never lost again afterwards. By 1966, he had won the National Karate Championships and the All-Star Championship. The following year, he claimed titles as the World Middleweight Karate Champion and All-American Karate Champion. In 1968, he became the World Professional Middleweight Karate Champion. And when he retired in 1974, he did so as the undefeated professional full-contact middleweight champion. Norris is a highly skilled black belt with numerous martial arts titles to his name. He played a significant role in pioneering full-contact karate in the U.S. and later transitioned into a successful career in action films. Over the years, he has earned black belts in jiu-jitsu, judo, and karate, continuously expanding his expertise. After working with Bruce Lee on a film, Norris was inspired to develop his own action movies, which became hugely popular throughout the 1980s. While some argue Norris would come out victorious, others believe Bruce Lee would have defeated Chuck Norris in a fight because of his speed. However, speed alone does not determine victory. The fastest sprinter isn't always the best overall athlete. And in combat sports like PFL, UFC, and MMA, the strongest or fastest fighter doesn't always win. For instance, Chuck Norris fought Joe Louis, one of the greatest karate fighters of all time, 4 times, and only lost once. These matches followed competition rules rather than the no-holds-barred style of UFC, but they still showed Norris's technical skill and adaptability. In contemporary culture, Bruce Lee is often viewed as a near-mythical figure with superhuman abilities. Meanwhile, Chuck Norris remains respected in martial arts circles, though his image in pop culture has become more of a meme, with exaggerated stories turning him into a figure of satire. Ironically, while Norris has a much more substantial competitive fighting record, it was Lee who became the global symbol of a kung fu master. To this day, the debate over who would win a hypothetical Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris match remains unresolved. Many believe that Lee's speed, something Norris himself has frequently praised, would give him the upper hand. Others argue that Norris's strength and size as a karate champion would allow him to overpower the kung fu legend. While it is clear that Bruce Lee's character won in Way of the Dragon, a real-life fight between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris at their physical peaks would likely have been a closely contested battle. Each fighter possessed a unique skill set that could counterbalance the other. Lee's speed and adaptability versus Norris's strength and karate expertise. To this day, Norris remains elusive when asked whether they ever fought outside of training, or who would have won if they had. As a result, the debate over a hypothetical Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris showdown continues even decades after their iconic on-screen clash. What has Chuck Norris said on Bruce Lee? Looking back at their careers, few, if any, can match their sheer determination and mastery of martial arts. Bruce Lee was a natural in front of the camera, rising to global fame as the martial arts craze exploded. Meanwhile, Norris's journey to stardom was more gradual, but his breakthrough came after his unforgettable collaboration with Lee. In the film, Lee played Tang Lung, a skilled martial artist sent to protect his family's restaurant from local criminals. Chuck Norris played Colt, a fearsome Western fighter recruited by the villains as their last hope against Lee's unstoppable force. Their showdown at the Roman Colosseum was a cinematic masterpiece. 10 minutes of raw intensity, where every strike, block, and counterattack was executed with precision. For martial arts fans, this wasn't just a fight scene. It was a legendary clash of 2 real-world masters. At the time, Norris was making his film debut, and seeing a Westerner in such a dominant martial arts role was a thrilling surprise for audiences. Though Bruce Lee's character ultimately won the fight, Norris's performance left a lasting impression. The Way of the Dragon wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. At the time of its release, it became the highest-grossing film in Hong Kong's history, holding that record until another Bruce Lee film surpassed it the following year. The movie's financial success was staggering, considering its modest budget. In a rare resurfaced interview, Chuck Norris himself reflected on its impact. That movie cost $145,000 to produce, he recalled. It's grossed over $60 million worldwide. It's amazing, huh? Adjusted for inflation, that number soars past $700 million. A testament to the film's lasting influence and the sheer power of Lee and Norris's names. The fight between Lee and Norris in the Colosseum remains one of the most iconic martial arts battles ever captured on screen. There were no gimmicks, no flying chairs, no wires, no flashy effects. Just 2 real martial artists engaged in a pure test of skill, speed, and strength. It was raw, intense, and brilliantly choreographed. When Lee's character ultimately emerged victorious, leaving Norris's cult motionless on the ground, audiences were left in awe. The realism of their duel led many to believe that the 2 men had an actual rivalry off-screen. The way they fought, the precision, the sheer force behind every movement, felt too real to be just another choreographed scene. Fans speculated for years, wondering if their legendary showdown was fueled by personal competition. But in reality, Lee and Norris were friends and training partners. Despite the persistent rumors of a real rivalry, Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris had a strong mutual respect, built through years of training together. They sparred on multiple occasions, with Norris often marveling at Lee's unparalleled speed and precision. Lee, on the other hand, never shied away from confidence. In one interview, he famously claimed that fighting renowned martial artists like Joe Louis, Mike Stone, and even Chuck Norris felt like fighting children. Yet when Norris spoke about their time together, he had nothing but admiration for Lee, reflecting on the Way of the Dragon. He said, "I enjoyed working with Bruce Lee in the film. It was a lot of fun. The fight scene is considered the classic martial arts fight scene of all time. So it's nice to be involved in a fight scene that everyone loves." That legendary Coliseum battle is still regarded as one of the finest fight sequences ever filmed. But what makes it even more remarkable is how it was shot. The team didn't have the proper permits to film at the historic site, so Lee had to take matters into his own hands, literally. Bribing officials, he managed to buy the crew just 1 hour to capture the epic duel. Every move, every strike, had to be precise. There were no second chances. The result? A cinematic masterpiece that still stands as a gold standard in martial arts choreography. Even decades later, no fight scene has quite matched its intensity, authenticity, and raw power. But there's one hidden detail from that legendary fight scene that remained under wraps for years. Chuck Norris himself revealed it in an interview. "There's a scene where I throw Bruce to the ground, and he grabs the hair on my chest, and he pulls it out. I get a letter from a man who says he and his son have seen The Way of the Dragon 26 times. He asks, 'Did Bruce really pull the hair out of your chest? If he did, you're really a stud.'" That moment, though seemingly small, became one of the many raw and unfiltered details that made the Coliseum fight so iconic. Unlike the choreographed brawls of Hollywood, Bruce Lee's philosophy was to keep it real, blending cinematic spectacle with actual combat techniques. Norris has never shied away from praising Lee, calling him a formidable opponent with a chiseled physique and technique, and adding that his confidence and wit were dazzling, sometimes even debilitating to others. But what truly sets their fight apart from any other is how it was filmed, under the watchful eyes of bribed guards in a forbidden corner of Rome's Colosseum. What was supposed to be a film for Asian markets became an international sensation, thanks to that breathtaking sequence. Shot in long takes, the fight let audiences absorb every move, every counter, every breath. It was pure poetic combat, something that could only happen with two masters of their craft, pushing each other to create history, legal or otherwise. Chuck Norris's love life. Chuck Norris has led a life as intriguing off-screen as the characters he portrays on screen. While much is known about his professional achievements, his personal life, particularly his relationships, aren't as publicized. Chuck Norris's journey with Diane Holchak started in a quintessentially romantic fashion. High school sweethearts, their story began when Norris was just a junior. The simplicity and innocence of teenage love evolved into a lifelong commitment when Norris, clad in his Air Force uniform, married Diane in December 1958 in Torrance, California. Their wedding marked the beginning of a union that would face the inevitable highs and lows of life together. Their marriage coincided with Norris's early struggles, long before he became a household name. While stationed in South Korea with the U.S. Air Force, he discovered his passion for martial arts. "My throat, I could hardly swallow." And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it so hard." Eventually, earning a black belt in Tang Sudo. Upon returning to the U.S., Norris dedicated himself to training and competing in karate tournaments, slowly carving a path toward success. As his martial arts career flourished, so did his family life. Chuck and Diane had two sons, Mike and Eric, who grew up watching their father rise from a disciplined martial artist to an international action star. Despite the growing demands of Norris's career, ranging from opening karate schools to training celebrities and eventually transitioning into Hollywood, the couple remained steadfast through the years. However, fame often brings its own challenges. As Norris's stardom skyrocketed with films like Way of the Dragon and The Octagon, as well as his legendary run in Walker, Texas, the pressures of Hollywood took a toll on their marriage. After 30 years together, Chuck Norris and Diane Holtzack divorced in 1988. Though the separation marked the end of a long chapter in Norris's personal life, their time together had shaped much of his early journey. Despite the end of their marriage, Norris has always expressed deep respect for Diane and the family they built. His personal life continued with a new chapter, when he married Gina O'Kelly in 1998, and the couple later welcomed twins. Gina O'Kelly entered Chuck Norris's life as a breath of fresh air, bringing with her a new perspective and love. Unlike the youthful romance that characterized his first marriage, Norris's relationship with O'Kelly was that of maturity, mutual respect, and shared values. The actor and martial artist first met O'Kelly in 1997 while he was on a dinner date with someone else. But after she played a small part in his show Walker, Texas Ranger the next day, he asked her out on a date. A year later, the pair got married, and in 2001, they welcomed a set of twins, son Dakota and daughter Dana Lee. Over the years, they've been inseparable, traveling the world, attending high-profile events, and even starring in commercials together. Gina has been a major force in Norris's life, supporting his philanthropy and co-chairing his nonprofit. In 2021, he took to Facebook to sing her praises, calling her a wonderful wife and mother, and an amazing business owner with incredible multitasking skills. Beyond their personal life, Gina has made her own mark in the entertainment industry. She's appeared on Praise the Lord alongside Norris, had a guest role on the sitcom Yes, Dear, and of course was part of Walker, Texas Ranger. Today, she's not only Chuck Norris's biggest supporter, but also stepmother to his 3 children, Mike, Dina, and Eric. Gina O'Kelly isn't just the woman by Chuck Norris's side. She's built an impressive career of her own. Starting out as a model, she eventually transitioned to television, landing a role on Walker, Texas Ranger, and appearing alongside Norris. On Praise the Lord in 2004, she even made a guest appearance in the 2003 sitcom Yes, Dear, where Norris also starred. Now, O'Kelly has stepped into the business world as the CEO of Seaforce, a water bottling facility she and Norris founded in 2015. But their impact extends beyond business. They're deeply committed to giving back. Norris originally launched the Kick Drugs Out of America Foundation in 1990, and in 2003, the couple rebranded it as Kickstart Kids. This nonprofit uses karate to empower young people, instilling discipline and character. We've reached more than 100,000 kids, and the breakthroughs that we've seen mean the world to us, they told New Beauty in 2023. Their passion for community service hasn't slowed them down. Whether attending events like Wizard World Comic-Con in 2017 or showing up at the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series AODE at Texas 500 with famous friends like Dennis Quaid and Jim Morris, Norris and O'Kelly remain a dynamic duo, both in their careers. Chuck Norris and Gina O'Kelly's relationship isn't just about business and philanthropy. They genuinely love spending time together, whether traveling, working out, or just enjoying a quiet moment on their ranch. They make the most of every day. In May 2022, Norris shared a glimpse of their adventures, posting an Instagram photo of the couple in Santa Cruz, California, captioned, "What a wonderful day it was in Santa Cruz with my beautiful wife." It's clear he's smitten. His social media is filled with heartfelt tributes to O'Kelly. For her birthday in August 2022, he posted, "Happy birthday to the most amazing woman that God could have ever blessed me with. Gina, I love you more than words can even describe." And when they celebrated their 23rd wedding anniversary in November 2021, he shared a photo of them embracing, writing, "My love, my life, my best friend, my world. Happy 23rd anniversary to my beautiful wife that God blessed me with when we met 25 years ago. I love you with all my heart." Beyond the romance, they share a commitment to health and wellness. Speaking to New Beauty, the couple explained how they incorporate healthy habits into their daily routine. "We try to weave them throughout our day. Things like taking a walk on our ranch, meditation and prayer, and working out together. Healthy aging is one of our shared priorities, so we've developed daily rhythms for nourishing our bodies well and staying active." Of course, even the fittest couples have their guilty pleasures. While they stick to mindful eating, typically avoiding food after 6 p.m. to wake up energized, they sometimes break the rule for a late-night dessert. And coffee? That's a non-negotiable staple at the Norris Ranch. Fitness has always been a big part of Norris's life, and he's been a longtime fan of Total Gym, appearing in commercials and infomercials for the brand. O'Kelly even joined him in one, proving once again that they're the ultimate power couple, whether in fitness, business, or love. Which of Chuck Norris's movies is your favorite? Also, if Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee got into a fistfight, who do you think would emerge victorious? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.